Hi everybody, I'm going to show you how to make a cherry tart today. It's cherry season right now and I keep seeing them at the grocery store, so I thought that I would make a little cherry tart to share with you. This one's going to be pretty quick because I have some pre-made in steps, so you don't have to sit here and watch me roll all those little balls out. What you're going to start with is the mixture that I like to use for all of my breads and tarts and pastries, which is Fimo. You can use any clay that you like. I like Fimo because it's tougher and it takes the details much better. It doesn't get as soft, but it does take a lot more time to work it and blend it together. So my combination is always 3, 2, 1. So 3 brown, 2 cream, and 1 yellow for all of my breads and doughs and pastries. And then you get this. So this is a ball that I just made up before. And I'll just work off of this ball. And when I need more, I'll just make some more. So I'm going to start with a piece about this. I had just put this one through the pasta maker. So I'll roll up into a little ball. And this will go pretty quickly. The thing that takes the longest is to make all the little cherries, but it's pretty mindless once you get going. You know, you could sit, if you have a TV or something in your craft room, you can sit and watch TV, and it doesn't take much to just sit and roll those balls. Okay, so I still have a little bit of red on my hands from the cherries, so if you see that in the clay, don't mind that. So what I'm going to do, I rolled it out into a little ball, a little bit flat on the top, a little flat on the bottom. I'm just going to push down into about the size of a quarter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a ball, my ball tool. This is the biggest ball tool that I have. And I'm just going to make a little outline in the center, as if I were going to leave like a 1/4 inch seam allowance around it. If you're a sewer, you know what I mean. Then I'm just going to fill that in. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're not going to see this. What I want to do is create just a little dip so that when we put the glue in there, it isn't going to overflow and go into the edges. So don't spend too much time on that. Just create a little dip there. And then you can take your needle tool or a toothpick, whatever you have, and I'm just going to press in on the edges to give that little tart shape all the way around. You can do it close together, far apart, whatever you want to do. Just try to space them evenly. And this is why I really like the Fimo, because at this point, if I were working with Sculpey, it would be pretty distorted now. If your circle does get distorted, go right back in with your ball tool and just push those corners back out a little bit. The Fimo can definitely handle it. The Sculpey would be wanting to, you know, just shift off. It would look more like an oval at this point with the Sculpey. And then what we're going to do is we're going to shade. I like to shade using chalk pastels and a little bit of water. You can do them dry too. This is the wet side of mine and this is the dry side, but I like to do them wet. So they're like watercolor chalks. So if you just dip in a little bit and put a little bit along the edges, it gives it that baked look, which just makes it look even more realistic. I know even with the whimsical kind of Polymer clay minis and things that a lot of the young girls make too, which I love because I love seeing young girls make things with their hands. But they make things cartoony a lot, and that looks awesome too. But if you really want it to look realistic, you definitely want to shade it in. You don't have to be an artist to do it either. You just want to kind of randomly plop on a little bit and give it a little extra darkness in some areas so that it looks like it's cooked a little longer in some spots. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take Bacon Bond. This is made by Sculpey, and you're going to put it down in the center where we made that groove. So what I like to do is I like to start on the outside, and if it ever comes out, this bottle is actually more than half full. I'm going to start on the outside and work my way in. And don't go too heavy because it'll spread itself out, and you'll spread it out too when you start putting the cherries in. If you just touch your last row, it will all connect. And if you find some gaps, just take a toothpick and spread it around. It's better to spread it around than to get too much. You don't want it going over the edges. Then it gives it a, it gives it a droopy look afterwards. After you bake it, you've got it coming over the sides and things, and you don't want that, especially if you're going to be putting it as a necklace. But any area that you miss, just kind of give it a little push. It'll spread itself out just like that. And then what I did was I got one already started here, so you don't have to see me roll all the cherries out. What I like to do is I work on tiles a lot. Red is a very messy color of clay to work with. These are actually Sculpey, the cherries, because I don't care really about if they're hard or soft. These are easy to roll up. But because red is so messy, as you saw my Tart, I had some red still on my hands even after I cleaned them. I like to use tiles for individual colors. So this tile is like a multi-purpose. I'll put my paints and things on it, but I have a whole kit that I will only use my white on because my white gets dirty so much. I really don't even use white clay because it's so aggravating. But I have a specific tile that I use white on. I have a specific needle tool, a specific razor, just because I can't stand the cross-contamination with that. There's nothing worse than when you're working with white and it just collects everything. So anyhow, what I did was I rolled it out into a snake, just a thin piece, and then I chop it up with my razor blade. Just go right down the line and chop, 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 chop. I try to get them all the same size, but if they're a little off, that's fine. You're not going to get all the cherries at the store that are the same size. And then once you chop them up like this, just roll them out into a little ball. Just in between your fingers. I like to roll a whole bunch out first and then put them in a pile. And then what we're going to do is we'll bring our Tart back over. Now this one I already put the bacon bond on and I put a lot of cherries in. So I like using these curved tweezers, but any tweezers will work. Your fingers will also work, but I really like the curved tweezers. And I'm just going to pick one up. Don't squeeze them too hard. You don't want to, like I said, this is Sculpey, so it doesn't take much for it to squash, but you don't want to squash them. I don't mind so much if I put them in there and then I have to give it a nice push down. If there's a hole on the top, I don't mind that because cherries have their stems. So that doesn't bother me, so don't feel like you can't push them in there. If you do, I would just find one spot, push it down, instead of trying to make two holes. And you just keep doing that until you get it filled nice and high, just the way that you like it. You don't want to see a whole lot of the white underneath. It will bake clear, but you see how much higher this one is, so just go ahead and pile them on. And then you're going to pop it in your toaster oven or your oven, however you cook them. And when it comes out, it's not going to be this shiny. This is already baked and glazed. So the glaze that I like for this, because tarts are very high gloss, even when you go into the pastry shops, they are very high gloss. I like to use triple thick on this. Triple thick is relatively new to me, and I had come across it while doing some research for a new gloss. I have the Sculpey gloss, and I don't like it. It makes things a little opaque, even though it's supposed to be clear. I don't like it. It looks like it has a little haze over it when you use it, so I was looking for something better, and I found the triple thick on Amazon. I paid like $10 for it, but then I found it in my local craft store for I think $6, and I used a coupon on it, and it's a pretty big bottle. It's 8 full ounces, so I've been using this for a while now, and I'm about here, right there. That's about how much I've used, so it'll last you quite a while. And I would definitely look at your local craft store if you want to do that, but that's what gives it this high gloss. And from what I've read, it does hold up pretty well. If you're going to wear things against you, if you're going to put an eye pin in here and use it as a necklace charm, you might have a little bit of problem a couple years down the road with the triple thick, but I wouldn't worry about it. I don't plan on wearing this for the next 5 years, so I wouldn't worry so much about it. Alright, well, check out my channel and my other videos, and if you have any questions or if there's anything that you want to see, leave a comment below and I'll make a video for it. Thanks!